to function.
Yeah.
Without it, they can't function, because you might have an intranet of a bank and another intranet of a bank, but they need a way of communicating, and that is done via the internet. Now, I realised a long time ago that there is two systems of money. There's the slave money, which is this paper stuff that we believe is real, and the only reason it works is because everyone believes it's real. If you went to your shop tomorrow with whatever you use and the shopkeeper said, no, I can't accept that because it's not real, then people would start to realise what money really is. But because we all believe it to be real, that's why it works. It's an illusion. Anyway, but if you've got this, you've got like this system, okay, of one type of money, which is the paper money that the slaves use, and then you've got a digital world, which is just noughts and ones on a computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens when that computer screen doesn't work anymore? What happens when the noughts and ones are not there? They haven't got anything. It's all gone. It's gone in the blink of an eye. What happens when their credit card doesn't work anymore? What happens when their control system doesn't work anymore? Because it's okay having a database of individuals and you have cards or whatever they're going to use. Well, what happens when they can't check that card against the system? Now, there's 62 million people in England or the UK. Are they going to carry the names and addresses of 62 million people in paper on the back seat of the car? Well, they can't. And that's the point. Their whole system revolves around the internet. It is the internet. So if the internet shut down, their money world would disappear, their control systems would disappear, everything would just disappear in the blink of an eye. And their whole world would collapse.
We're thinking at the end scene of Fight Club, that movie, if you've seen it, he reboots the entire system, right? Yeah, they blow up 3 buildings that hold all the mainframes of the credit status around the world, I think, or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, that's it. But basically, what I'm saying is, if the system of control is the internet, if you take the internet away, and what would happen as well is when the internet goes, see, the internet's got a nasty thing as well, because the internet has broken more families than you could possibly imagine, because it's an obsession. It's like a drug. You get addicted to it. I know, because I live the addiction. I live it.
It's no accident they call it the web, you know?
No. Because it's an addiction. You actually are. I'm addicted to these bloody things. I come down in the morning, I want to make a cup of coffee. I'm going to have a fag because I like smoking. And I know people say it's wrong, but I like smoking. And at the end of the day, that's probably one of my last battles. Possibly caffeine as well, because I do like strong coffee. But there you go. But the next thing I want to do, sometimes before I've even had breakfast, is want to turn the computer on and check my emails.
Mm.
It's like, whoa, what are you doing here? You know, what's this all about? Why are you going to this bloody machine and turning it on? There's so much more out there in the world. Oh, but it's an addiction. So what's happened is the amount of people I've talked to, it's actually destroyed their families. It's destroyed their lives. They've got obsessed with this thing. They're on it from the time they finish work to the time they go to bed. And it's destroyed their communication skills with their family. It's destroyed the family itself, because this thing is taking precedence over everything else that's important to these people. So it traps people, and it traps. And what actually happens is, as the process goes along, you're being taken away from what you actually are trying to connect to. Because what you're doing is you're looking externally for something that you need to find internally. And the way you find it internally is to be out in nature, is to actually realise what excuse me.
Mm.
Look at a tree. I look at a tree and people say to me, you're mad. I said, no, okay, look at a tree. It doesn't get fed by anything. I don't care what scientists say. As far as I'm concerned, scientists can't prove to me. They can't show me stuff happening. They can only theorise that it happens, and it's only best guess at the end of the day. And when they can actually say to me how a bumblebee flies, then they might be on the right track. But a bumblebee was given to scientists to basically say,
it can't fly.
It can't fly.
Yeah.
So basically given to say, look, there's something better than you, and you're never going to suss it out, so stop bloody trying. It's a message. It was a message given to us. It's like, but what basically, I look at a tree and they say to me, it's a tree. I said, no. Look, it's in the ground. It's got this phenomenal root system, which you can see, and I've dug trees up in my past and part of what I used to do for a living. So I understand. I've seen the root systems. I know they exist. And you've got this tree that stood there for hundreds of years. It basically needs light and it needs water. That's basically all it needs. And look at it. It lives. It's phenomenal. We need the bloody thing, as far as scientists are concerned, because it takes in carbon monoxide and whatever and pumps out oxygen, whatever. But the point is what I'm making is, we don't have to understand how it does what it does. Just enjoy the beauty of it. And that's what we miss, because this is why kids are ending up the way they're ending up. This is because the education system is actually trying to say to them, look, you see that tree? This is it, metamorphosis, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Instead of just saying, look how beautiful it is. Just marvel at it being there. Don't try and explain why it's there. That's all we need to know. We don't need to know anything else. We just need to know it's there and it looks beautiful. It's amazing. And it's like everybody, like I said earlier about these species, everybody's looking for species off of this planet. There's millions of species on this planet that we can't connect to, we can't communicate with. We haven't got a clue what they really are. And we presume we're higher up the food chain, or whatever you want to call us, or we're brainier, because we can't communicate. We don't know what birds can do. We don't know what lions and tigers and elephants and all that. We don't know how they communicate, because we don't understand them. Because we've lost the ability to actually properly get in touch with these things. Because we look at it from a scientific... I stood next to a horse today, funny enough. I was feeding, I'll give it a polo. I'll give it a mint, this horse, and it loved it. But I was standing next, and I was talking to this horse, and looking at and I was just marvelling at the bloody size of this thing. It was massive, this horse. It was absolutely... And it was covered in mud. It'd been rolling about in the mud. And I was just stood by it, and I was talking to it, and Richard was with me, and it was trying to eat our coats, and it was all sorts really funny. And it went through me. I'd love to communicate with this creature properly. I'd love to communicate with this. Now, people say, you are off your nut. You are out of your mind. But I like being out of my mind. Because being out of my mind, one day, maybe I will be able to communicate with that creature properly. And wouldn't it be a shock if you actually found out that creature was more intelligent than we are? Because how do you measure intelligence?
Well, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It's exactly true, isn't it? I mean, we presume we're the be-all and the end-all of everything. That's what we presume. And it is implied assumption. That's exactly how the legal system works. Implied assumption. It assumes that we will always represent that piece of paper that was created in the legal world to trap us. And it is implied that we will always represent it. But it's a problem to them when someone peacefully doesn't represent it and actually says, you're talking to a piece of paper, I'm going to give you that piece of paper to talk to. It ain't going to talk back to you, but I'm not representing it anymore. I'm a human being. I am not a person.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about that as well, John. The idea that you don't, or I should rephrase that and say, is there a way then to not respond to the so-called obligations that we have when it comes to paperwork, when it comes to, I guess we're automatically put into the system because of our birth certificate, so we're kind of, although we personally didn't agree to it, our parents did, so we kind of ending up with it at the end of the day. But in regards to getting out of the system or something like that, is that something you've been trying to do that you would recommend, or is that just more work that is unnecessary? Can we just?
It's hard. I'm not going to say it isn't. One of the hardest things that when you do, I suppose what I did, and when you suddenly realise you realised what this is all about, or I realised what this is all about, you suddenly realise that you are actually, for the first time in your life, absolutely 100% taking responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
because I live under basic principles of harm and loss. And when you live under them basic principles, whether it be by word or whether it be by action, then you don't do it. You don't do it. And you don't, it's not, I suppose you could say you don't knowingly do it, but you don't do it. You don't. And when you start, and it's hard. It is very, very difficult because the ego wants you to do it. But you have to live, you have to, that responsibility is not just to yourself as being a human being, it's to every human being on the planet. You have to be responsible for your own actions and your actions towards every human being, and even what you say to every human being. There's a responsibility. The problem is with our world is that most persons in the world do things without no accountability or no responsibility.
Yeah, that's right.
They can basically just do it. I mean, look at when, United Kingdom and America went to war in Iraq. Do you know, I mean, when you actually look at the foundation of law, I mean, there is some people in United Kingdom are basically just going up against the war, and they've actually found out, which is absolutely true, that in the law of this country, it actually says that we cannot go to war with another country unless that country declares war on us first.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, as far as I understand, that's exactly the same as in America. And as far as I understand, that Iraq or Afghanistan never actually declared war on us. So instantly you've got an instance where that's an unlawful war. But remember what I'm saying about the different types of statutes. There's the public and the private. So they don't come under the normal. See, that's why Tony Blair and George Bush have never actually been under trial for war crimes, which they're quite guilty of.
Of course.
But like I said earlier, I don't believe sort of in that. They've got to battle their own demons, and sooner or later they're going to come down on top of them. So they've got. I wouldn't want to be them.
They are demons. That's what.
Well, yeah, but they're not. They're human beings. They are human beings, but unfortunately they have a demon, as we all have a demon, if you want to put it in that term, which is the ego.
They're giving the demon more space, as it were. It's taken over their body, even,
Oh, yeah, blimey, they certainly are. Well, that's the shutter door. Remember what I was telling you about the shutter door?
Yeah.
That's the shutter door. That is it. What happens when these people actually believe they are a person? They believe they are the ego. This shutter door comes down behind the eyes. Now, if you look at Tony Blair or George Bush, you look at any of these individuals, Brian talks about this as well. When you look at them, it looks like you're looking into hollow eyes. And, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And generally, if you look in someone's eyes, you don't quite know what you see, but you react to it. There's something there. When you look in George Bush's eyes or Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, Miliband, all these sort of people, when you look at their eyes, they're blank. And this is a shutter door that comes down, I believe, that the ego is... When the human being believes it's the ego, this shutter door comes down and cuts off the normal human emotions. One of them being is, we talked like sort of a minute ago about sort of the paedophilia and that sort of stuff that's going on in the world, and there is a lot of it, and there is like sort of the Ministry of Funny Handshakes and all these different people who are involved in this sort of stuff. But to us, as in a human state, if you like, it's beyond imagination doing that to a child.
Yeah.
So that means there's emotions in us that would stop us from doing that. In these people, because the egos took over, them emotions have been shut down. There's a shutter door comes down and they can't get through. All I'm saying is that sooner or later, when that shutter door lifts up, these people have to battle with the emotions of what they've done. They will have to do it naturally. That's going to actually happen to them. And that's what's happening to the world at the moment. And this is actually starting. It's already started. You can see it in people. And you can see the process because look at these people and they seem to be getting ill. They look